Welcome back to My Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today? I don't know why I'm putting such weird inflections on that intro sentence because, you know, I know, sing-songy voice. Is that that's a thing, right? Do I have a sing-songy voice? I don't really know. I'm not really sure what qualifies as sing-songy voice, but that's neither here nor there. And probably those inflections are more off-putting than they are soothing, like a song would be, I suppose. It's like an uncanny valley with speech, isn't it? You put the stress on the wrong syllables. Anyway, hello there everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 5:34 PM on Tuesday, June 8th, 2021. Nothing to really speak of today, but we'll go about our usual business. And we will see what's going on today. What do I want to talk about? I don't know. But so many things in words to talk about. So many things to talk about. Like this or this. I don't even know what that's a reference to. But it feels like a Lonely Island song in my head. But I don't know if that's true. We don't actually have any mail. Interesting. But Crazy Red is a visitor today. Which I am thankful for. Because we always love a good Crazy Red visit. Yeah, I mean, we've got E3 coming up soon. That's... When's it starting? It might be starting tomorrow, I think, with the Battlefield things, and then it's the Game Show Expo, right, the day after. And then, you know, I'll be eagerly anticipating the Nintendo E3 show, along with the rest of you, unless you aren't, in which case, just me, maybe? I don't really know what I was going about. But yeah, wait, I'm not sure if E3 is actually open, like, floor-wise, and I imagine lockdown situation is still going on, so it's not open for public, and it's all digital online again, which is, you know, fair enough, as probably as it should be. You know, you don't want to take unnecessary risks when it comes to something like this. But I don't know why I put away my ladder. Excuse me, get in there, will you? Get in there. It must be pretty crazy, like, just going up on stage like as a developer, because for like your video games, especially if you're an indie game, because when you're a developer, you're not necessarily... I just searched New Horizons and NASA came up. That's not what I meant. It's not necessarily like you're trained in public speaking or anything of that sort, right? You just this one looks fake. This looks fake. It's really hard to tell because it's so small. I want a closer look. I don't know. That looks real. I'm pretty sure the fake one has a star earring, right? If I remember correctly. Try and find it, but we might have this one already, so it's not really something when you were concerned about. So this one is the genuine article, but Mona Lisa is definitely fake. So I'll go back to that E3 talking a bit after we've done exploring all of this. Is this a terracotta army soldier? The forged statue is holding a shovel, a genuine one is not. So that's forged. This is certainly forged because she looks angry. I don't even know which one this is. In forged painting, a man in the far back is pointing upwards, with a genuine one he is touching the wall. Okay, so that looks fake to me. So this is in fact the only legitimate one we have, which I think we got it. Whoa! Right, you actually got different dialogue options where if you decline it and come back to it. That's crazy, and I had no idea this entire time. You might ask, how do we have two genuine articles of the wistful painting? But let's not think about that too much. But anyway, yeah, it must be pretty crazy going on stage as like an E3 developer, especially as an indie. Well, I don't know if indie devs really get the stage all that much, but yeah, it's like, I mean, you spent your entire life like wanting to become a developer, and then suddenly you got to do like this very scary presentation, I suppose, on stage. Well, it's not necessarily scary in and of itself, but I suppose normally the E3 stage is quite big with the crowds, and I don't know if the crowds reach thousands, but certainly the hundreds, I'd imagine. And then you got all the people online just sort of like watching you as well. And actually, you know, now I think about it, probably what they do is they just get, they probably just have specific people in the company who are just like, well, not specifically for like public speaking, that sort of thing, but the ones who are more accustomed to that public speaking sort of role, probably the ones who step up to the plate and feel that situation. But I suppose you don't really have that luxury when it comes to being a small dev team or an indie team or something like that, when you had to talk about your the video game you've made. But perhaps the passion that you have for it will spurn you onwards to allow you to talk comfortably in front of the live stream or whatever. Because I was thinking about that with the Wholesome Direct, you know, all the Wholesome Direct people. Wait, do we need what missions do we have? Buy things, wardrobe, fish, rocks, trees. Okay, we'll try and get some fish stuff done. I was thinking about that because the Wholesome Showcase, or any sort of like indie dev showcase, it's always like the indie developers make them like I was gonna say custom. Custom's not really a word. Personalized, like recordings of himself and talking about the game that they put obviously all their hard work into, and probably a lot of money and time and resources into it, and you know, finally getting to see it come to fruition into life and published on whatever platform that we want. I wonder if it's nerve-wracking or not. Like, certainly if I was younger and I was doing it, I'd be like, oh, this is like the worst thing ever. Now certainly I'd just be like, yeah, it's probably fine. I mean, maybe I won't say I won't like be slightly apprehensive or nervous in front of a stage of like thousands or whatever, being like, oh, will they like it, will they, won't they? That's sort of like the whole basis of being like anxiety and that sort of thing is like the unknowns, and thinking through all the cases in your head and sometimes coming to the worst possible conclusions, which is not always productive. In fact, I'd say never really productive, but you know, let's not make sweeping statements like that. But I guess if you just find yourself, you just gotta deal with it, I suppose. Like, there's no way you miss out on an opportunity as good as that to go on stage and talk about the what's it called? You know, I was gonna say magnum opus. That's not really the right word though. Like I was gonna say a love letter as well. That's also not the right word. No, what's that thing for like a project you work on, which is like your love and toil project or something? I can't remember. There was a phrase for it, but for that, and there's no way you pass up on that opportunity, especially as an indie dev, right? It's just like how we always say in media, you're meant to go up on that stage, you know, like imagine everyone in their underwear or something. What do you think about Rowan? And somehow that's meant to be reassuring. I'm going to say like a few things about that. Oh, what new nickname? What was it, Rowan? Touchdown. Touchdown. Da 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 da. You might say, hey, is that S Club 7 song Sundown? With the words touchdown replaced into it? You are absolutely correct. I don't know how you managed to get that, but in fact I've got no lyrics of that song in my head. But yeah, it's always like, go on stage, imagine everyone in the underwear, or naked, or whatever. I'm just gonna say, well, apart from the obvious thing of weird, that's pretty difficult to do in the first place, don't you think? Like, I'd imagine if it's just a few people, you could very easily imagine them like wearing, like, not just underwear or whatever, like whatever sort of clothing you'd feel more comfortable that they'd be wearing in your mind's eye. But like 100 people, 1,000 people, like I like to think I have a pretty good imagination. Like I have good not in the sense of like creativity, but in the sense of actually imaginative properties of being able to picture things in my head, which is, you know, it's not like I have it as a point of pride or derision or anything like that, but it's just is what it is. Even I don't think I could simultaneously have like 1,000 people, like simultaneously imagine 1,000 people wearing different outfits to what they're currently wearing. That sounds like brain intensive, you know? Your brain's gonna have to overclock to get that many different sort of things rendered at once. You get me? And I'm not even sure if it's that reassuring, imagining people in their underwear. If I like walked on stage and everyone was in their underwear, I'd be like, oh no, have I done something wrong? Am I meant to be in my underwear as well? And I know that sounds absurd, but it's that sort of dream logic which would apply in that situation, because I mean that sounds like a scenario straight out of a dream in the first place. You would do it and would just be like, what? Like, if there was like 1 or 2 people in the audience who were in their underwear, you'd just be like, oh, they're just like, I don't know, strange or whatever, along those lines. But sorry, slight pause there. But yeah, if there's like 1 or 2 people in the audience and who were just like in the underwear, you'd be like, oh, this is like a one-up thing. Like, what are they doing? They're clearly in the wrong here, or not, maybe not the wrong, but like they're on the unusual side of things. If there's like 50 or so, like half the audience is in the underwear, you'd be like, okay, I'm not really sure what's going on in here. There's some sort of weird like territory debate, or maybe, I don't know, maybe this is like a joint convention of E3 with I don't know, Calvin Klein or something. And these other models who are really interested in your talk about 3D design and its usage in your indie game. I don't know. I don't know why it's suddenly become like a game dev talk rather than a game showcase, but still. Now, if the entire audience, or the majority of the audience, were in my underwear or something, you'd just be like, I think I've done something wrong. Like, there's no way I'd get up on stage and just... You can't get up on stage and just act normally at that point. You get up on stage and just be like, what? For one. If you're very quick-witted, maybe you make like a light-hearted joke at the thing and everyone goes, ha 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 ha. Unless everyone was like in their underwear against their will, in which case it's... I don't know, that seems like a much more involved story than I was initially going for, which was just a much more of a light-hearted dissection of the generic advice they give you in public speaking terms. But it would just be weird. Like, I would just get up and be like, I've done something wrong. I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong hall. I would be like, you guys are all here for like my talk about the different types of Neopet species and how they've evolved throughout the years or something, right? And they would be like, yeah. I'd be like, yeah, we're just all in our underwear. And I'd be like, oh, okay, sure, I guess, you know. No, but like, I'm not trying to be like, oh yeah, how dare you? Like, it's actually offensive to me. It's not offensive to me, of course. Someone else, this is obviously Claude's. It would just be very, very confusing to me, and I wouldn't know how to react to it. And if anything, I think it would throw me off more than it would comfort me. Like, if anything, it sounds kind of intimidating, doesn't it? You're just staring people down, and everyone's in their underwear, and it's just sitting in a public place with your underwear, just like as if nothing's wrong. Well, not wrong. Nothing's like unusual about that. It's such an awe of self-confidence, which I don't know if I aspire to have, I'm envious to have it, or I'm scared of it in the first places, but maybe a mix of all three. At the same time, which just makes it even more frightening. And then, when your entire audience sort of, what's the word, it's not exhumes, it's not extrudes, exposes, it's not exposes, but that's a good pun there, exposes that sort of aura, it's overwhelming, and I would be so caught off guard, I would not even know what to do. I mean, after like my brain shut down, like my brain processing, like dung, you know, the Windows sound with that arrow. Sorry, it wasn't a very good impersonation, or you probably did not understand what on earth that meant. You do it and then be like, and then you'd be like, all right, put it together, come on. And then you just probably go into your speech as normal. Let's imagine how it goes. Probably wouldn't go for me. I'd just probably just be so unnerved, you know, glancing off stage, being like, am I the only one who's like fully dressed for this occasion? I guess it's quite literally an overdress for the situation, which is, you know, better overdressed than underdressed in most situations, I'd imagine. You know, you'd rather be the person wearing like a full formal attire on the stage when everyone else is in the underwear, rather than be in the underwear when everyone else is in formal attire, you know. One of those is just strange. The other is like nightmare fuel, I suppose. And okay, not quite nightmare fuel, but you know, I mean, kind of. But nightmare fuel kind of holds connotation of it like being like an eldritch monstrosity or something, infecting your own brain. Oh wait, it's a worrying thought. Not one that I particularly had to concern myself about that often, because it's not like many opportunities for public speaking in the first place, unless this counts. I can tell you right now, I'm not in my underwear, and I'm not imagining you in your underwear, because I don't even know who you are. Wear whatever you're comfortable in that situation, because I can't see you, you can't see me, we're all one happy family. Da-da-dun-dun-dun-dun, give a dog a bone. Something went rolling home. Hello, Wardy. Hello, Lily. Oh, no, this is not yours. Hello, I feel confused, but I don't know why. Bye-bye. Do you think if you walk in and then immediately walk out, they'd both be confused? That'd be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's better things to imagine people in. Like, on one hand, you might find it... obviously, the intention is you imagine everyone in their underwear, and then that's just... I guess it's like so strange in concept in the first place, it makes you feel comfortable, because it's like, oh, at least I'm not in my underwear, I don't really know. Or maybe the thought of it is just so hilarious to you that, not like you crack up laughing, because that would probably ruin the speech in a whole different way, but you just like are now at ease, because rather than being like scared of the audience, I suppose, maybe they're scared of you. Hold on, this is a weird like flipping of intentions, what I was going for. But why is it always about imagining the audience doing something? Why don't you just imagine yourself as like an amazing public speaker? Sorry, as a bit of a like just do it sort of moment. But if you just imagine yourself as being like who's a really charismatic public speaker? I don't know, like any stand-up comedian, I suppose. Choose your favourite. John Mulaney, how about that? Bo Burnham, Dane Cook. Is he still relevant? I don't think he's relevant anymore. So maybe drop that one. Michael McIntyre? Is he still a thing? I don't know. What about Bill Burr? So I'm just listing off all the comedians I know. Now I'm just thinking of like people on IQ. Alan Davies? Is he even a comedian? What's his name? David Mitchell? Went to buy a tree. Sorry, I'm getting a bit sidelined here. Like, just imagine you're like channeling their spirit, like that. You know, you're just on stage. You're like, oh, I'm so nervous. You close your eyes, and then suddenly you feel like a firm shoulder. What? A firm hand on your shoulder, and you turn around. It's David Mitchell. He's there, like, you got this. Actually, I guess David Mitchell wouldn't really be like that. He'd probably go on some like angry tirade. But I like to think that if he knew you personally, he would give you words of encouragement, being like, you can do this, that sort of thing. You know, when he's off a clock, he doesn't need to be funny all the time. Or maybe just in their spare time, but they wouldn't be funny all the time. I don't really know how it's like as a comedian. I hope to be able to tell one joke someday that makes someone laugh, you know? Anyway, we should have told some stuff, but we didn't because we're crazy. But my point being is I did not mean to drop out on the floor. Is that I don't know if it's great advice to imagine people in their underwear when you're doing it. One, because it was difficult in the first place, and two, because it's, I don't know, I don't think I'd find it reassuring. It's not like I'm not like squeamish about like nudity or anything about that, mind you. I just find it weird. Because in this situation, I guess it's because the underlying thought that I'm committing like some huge social faux pas or something. Is that how you say it, right? Like I'm violating some unwritten social rule that was implied when I signed up to do the speech, this public speaking contest in the first place. What? Did we planted a tree? Am I losing my mind? This doesn't count as a tree? A cedar tree doesn't count as a tree? Excuse me? Okay, let's go catch a fish and we'll sell the stuff. I guess we'll try and run and find Claude to give him the stuff in the first place and then we'll catch a fish. But, yeah. So, you might say, that begs the question then. Alright, dear darling, what would you, suggest that you imagine instead? And, you know, I already answered that question. I said, imagine you're David Mitchell, I guess, or Bo Burnham. Probably Bo Burnham. I like Bo Burnham. Why wouldn't you... What if you, like, couldn't imagine yourself as anything else? Like, you know, obviously that's superficial. That's not going to work. Obviously, I'm not Bo Burnham. I mean, obviously, also, they're not in round away. Claude. 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 How am I meant to give this to you? You know what? I'm going to catch your fish. I catch your fish. I catch them up. He's all happy for me. Can you, like, stop fishing? So I can give you this? No, not what's the latest. Perfect spot for Western style stone. Please don't smear jam all over our graveyard. I was gonna give you this. No, what was I saying? I don't remember. Oh yeah, what would you imagine I'm wearing instead? I don't know, just like normal clothes. Or like imagine them, you know what you should do? You just imagine them at the end of your speech after you're done. They just like stand up and give you a standing ovation. Just like, wow, ooh, that was the best speech I've ever heard. Like so it's just like an absolute riot or whatever. And then by the time it gets to the end of the speech, maybe they won't think it's an absolute riot, maybe they think it would be terrible, but who really cares? You know, you got to the end of the speech by that point. I know this is all sort of like easier said than done, which is exactly the point of what I'm going for. Is meant to be obviously exaggerated to the extreme because your brain is irrational like that, and whatever you can do to help cope with that sort of situation, if you're forced into like a public speaking event, oftentimes in school and whatnot, and then whatever you can do to cope with it, by all means do it. Don't listen to my random ramblings, my false criticisms of imagining everyone naked or in their underwear. If that's just like what gets you through it, that's what gets you through it. Because everyone knows that public speaking assignments, especially in school, always a nightmare, you know? No one wants to do them. Did you see that? We got free softwood and free normal wood and free hardwood all in a row. And then we got one of each. What? You know what the chances of that happening? 1 in 3 to the power of 12. Just like any other potential pattern. It says, we as humans, we love patterns, and we like to draw conclusions when there are not necessarily any to draw in the first place. I'm sorry, does that have to be a Debbie Downer? What's it saying? I don't know, like, I'm trying to think, because you want to strike a good balance of what you imagine them wearing between something which is not like just something normal, which would not change your situation at all. It'd be like, oh, imagine them wearing smart casual with button down shirts and beige chinos with a brown belt on or something. Not the karate kind, but certainly had a bit of spice to it, I'm not gonna lie. Let's not selfies yet. Oh, I didn't, in fact, plant the tree I thought I did. I had another tree in my inventory already. This explains a lot. Anyway, what's my point? Yeah, but you don't want to be too absurd about it, because, like, one, I'm unbelievable, and two, like, funny at this point. Like, you don't want to just, like, burst out laughing or something in the middle of your speech. Or maybe you do, I don't know, it depends if it's, maybe you're doing a comedy act or something. I don't really know. Is it funnier if you laugh at your own things, your own jokes in a comedy act? I'm inclined to say no. But I'm inclined to say it's not funnier, but I'm inclined to say that the perception of it is that it is funnier, because, you know, that's why they have laugh tracks or whatever in, not sitcom. Well, yes, sitcoms, actually. I was going to say not sitcoms, but no, it turns out that's exactly what I meant. Because, you know, the fact that everyone else is laughing is it tricks your brain, and you go, haha, this be funny too. Even when isn't necessarily. Funny how it works, eh? The mind is a wondrous place. I don't know. What about, like, if you want, like, a compromise between underwear and something else, just, like, imagine them, like, beachwear or something. You know, like, swimming trunks, bathing suits, whatever. Bikini. Wetsuits. Turns out there's a lot of things you can wear on the beach, huh? Didn't really think about this. Let's craft some things, we'll get a Nuclear mission done. I'm saying this as if this episode's about to round up soon, it's not really. We've still got 8 minutes. What about, like, full winter attire? You know what I think would help me is, I say, if everyone was basically, not like a faceless member of the audience, that'd probably be horrifying if they were just like, you know, oh, it's like a Doctor Who enemy or whatever. Well, not enemy. Maybe they're enemies, I can't remember, where they just, like, don't have faces, right? I can't imagine how hilarious that must have been to film those scenes. Because they obviously, like, they didn't remove the people's faces, that's impossible, for one, but, they just had to film it, like, as normal, but they had to just pretend their face wasn't there, so the other actors just has to stand there blankly, staring on. That sounds hilarious to me. No, what was I saying? I don't know if I had a point. Oh yeah, like, full Inuits. Like, not Inuit gear, hold on. Like dressed up, wrapped up like an Inuit, you know? Or like how prepared they are for winter weather, but, you know, presumably you don't live in, like, the Antarctic Circle or something, or the Arctic Circle, mind you. It would just be so out of place. It'd also be very uncomfortable. Anyway, my thought process was like that, and then I was like, oh, I imagined them as the We Were Here characters, and then I was like, oh yeah, you know? What if they were just, like, faceless characters, you know? Not like faces and they literally don't have a face, but, like, anonymous random people just watching, you know, like robots or something. Imagine them as robots. Isn't it so much easier? Oh, imagine them as your soft cuddly toys or something. Isn't it so much easier to talk to your soft cuddly toys than a group of people? Maybe, maybe not. I suppose your mileage may vary when it comes to that sort of thing. I'm not gonna lie, it's getting pretty warm right now. I went out earlier today, met up with a friend who I haven't seen in person for quite a while. It was good fun. Ali was there as well. We had some food, and we went shopping for a bit, and that was about it. It was a good morning. Came back. Was I productive? No, I basically done nothing since I came back. I just watched videos. Okay, it is actually boiling. I need to crack the window open. Just a little bit. Seashells hit rocks. Sell things. Can do. We can do. Good old bit of a Rick and Morty bit for you there. Richard and Mortimer. Which I have not really seen, but I've seen some episodes. What have I seen? That's a good question. I don't actually know. Have I seen any of the episodes? I've seen the one where there's the parasites invading their house, and then they have to, like, more and more people keep getting added, creating good memories every time you have a flashback. it makes you remember them. And I watched that episode because I saw like a clip of it or something, and I was like, this is like a really cool concept for like a monster. Obviously, it's done in a comedic sci-fi tone from the Rick and Morty universe, but Warforage. I was thinking, I was like, oh, imagine if there's a D&D monster like that. It kind of is. There's something called the False Hydra, which basically warps your memories, kind of. No, it doesn't quite warp your memories, but makes anyone sort of like consumed by the False Hydra. It's like they've been plucked from existence. Like no one can remember them anymore. That's what they're sort of like. Sorry, you might hear the dulcet sounds of a train. It's not really dulcet. The rickety sounds of a train going by. What's this? I can't do maths. It's my fatal flaw. It's not really my fatal flaw. I can't do maths. Well, controversial. Maths graduate can do maths. I know, it shocks me as well. No, what was I saying? I don't know. I felt like I had a point, but I don't. The more I think about it, the more I feel like I didn't have a point. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, that like parasite enemy. It's such a cool concept for a character. I saw the clip and I was like, oh my god, that's so good. If you don't know, it's basically it's a parasite which leeches. And I don't know how it works like biologically wise, but the concept is every time you have a flashback, it introduces like another character. Be like, oh, do you remember that time when we all went kayaking in the rivers or whatever? And then you'd be like, you'd be flashing back with your family, you'd be like, oh man, this is such a great time. And then like someone random walks in like, zombie Abraham Lincoln. Sorry, I'm not doing a great job of like describing it. Like zombie Abraham Lincoln walks in and be like, wow, it's such a great time. Thanks, zombie Abraham Lincoln, for organising this event for us. And then you would just be like, 4 and no problem. And then it comes back and it's like, oh, there's a zombie Abraham Lincoln with them. What's this? A Warforged? We need a Warforged one, don't we? With them in the present reality. And it just, the parasites keep multiplying by I guess feeding off your memories? Hijacking your memories might be a better way to put it. But a fatal flaw of a parasite is you can only have good memories about the parasites and the things that happen. They also try and get you to flashback. They'll be like, remember that time when X, Y, Z? And it'll just be made up memory. Where they interject another parasite into the ecosystem. It's such a cool concept. But I hope someone out there has adapted it to like a D&D monster. You know, someone's done it. But there's people who are obsessed with doing this sort of thing. In a good way, mind you. What have I called? Parasite, Rick and Morty memories. They probably have a name. Memory parasites. Is this what they're called? Memory parasites. Rick and Morty memory parasites. D and D. Gotta specify 5th edition because I don't understand it otherwise. So, someone's doing it in 3.5 edition. Need help with a total record style D&D shenanigans. Episode spoiling style. What am I doing? I'm going to AVD. Mechanic wise could easily give changelings or doppelgangers detect thoughts and alter memory and run them with a that's a good way to do it. For human mind. So race and Lord of Madness gods Sochava has a bit more of a thing invasion of a body snatchers vibe, but could easily be adapted to this. Aberrations, you know, people just have such a great encyclopedic memory of like all the D&D stuff. It's crazy. In a good way. Aspirationally crazy, you know. They'd probably make fantastic DMs. Some one backstories who claims to be from backstory run it similar to how with each character reminiscing their stories to bring in more and more parasite changelings. I want to do something like this. I mean, I've often spoken ad nauseum about the theoretical D&D campaign that I would love to run in the future. And you know, before I had excuses like, oh, we can't do it now because, you know, there's a lockdown, we can't meet up in person. No, I won't have to do any work to make it come to fruition. And now, you know, lockdown's easing up. I'm just like, oh no, I've done very little. I have a Google Drive doc about some stuff. You know, I'm not going to check it now, obviously. But I'd love to do that something. I love those memory, mind-bending sort of parasite things, you know? You can get one of those and get them into your brain and get them to imagine everyone naked and then it'll be super easy. Sorry, not naked, in my underwear. Naked's a bit lewd, isn't it? And it'll be super easy, barely an inconvenience. And with that, you know, public speaking, no big deal. The imagination part, taken care of. And that's another thing. Imagining everyone in their underwear is going to take so much about brain processing power, which you should probably be using towards your delivery of your speech. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Should we end this episode off here? I don't really know what I talked about, but if you have been watching, thank you very much for spending Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, all greatly appreciated. Join the Dear Darling Discord down below. and follow me on Twitter. I hope we can see each other again, but for now it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.